114 people died, 1,400 injured, and it all started with a single missing rivet. The Hyatt Regency Walkway collapse was the deadliest structural failure in American history, until we realized it was completely preventable. Welcome to Collapse Report. We follow the money from boardroom decisions to bankruptcy filings. Here's what happened when a design change killed hundreds. On July 17, 1981, the Hyatt Regency Kansas City was hosting a tea dance, a Friday evening tradition. People gathered in the lobby, on the walkways, dancing, socializing, celebrating the weekend. At 7:05 p.m., the second floor walkway collapsed. It fell onto the first floor walkway below. Both walkways then crashed into the lobby. 114 people died, 216 injured. The deadliest structural collapse in US history until 9/11. But this wasn't a natural disaster. This wasn't an earthquake. This was a building that failed because of a design change. A change that saved a few $1,000s and cost millions in damages and hundreds of lives. Let me explain the engineering. The Hyatt Regency had a dramatic atrium lobby, 45 feet high, suspended walkways on the second, third, and fourth floors. The original design called for the fourth floor walkway to be supported by steel rods that continued down to support the second floor walkway. During construction, the fabricator proposed a change. Instead of continuous rods, used two sets of rods, one supporting the fourth floor, one supporting the second floor, both attached to the same ceiling support. This change seemed minor. It made construction easier, but it doubled the load on the ceiling support. Instead of carrying one walkway, it now carried two. The engineers approved the change, without calculations, without understanding the implications. A 2-minute review of a simple drawing. And a fatal mistake was made. The walkways were designed to hold 60 people each. On the night of the collapse, there were 40 people on the second floor walkway, 20 on the fourth, well within design limits. But the design was wrong. The connection failed. The fourth floor walkway fell. It landed on the second floor walkway below. The combined weight was too much. Both crashed into the lobby. The aftermath was chaos, bodies in the rubble, survivors screaming, emergency responders working through the night. The rescue operation lasted 14 hours. The investigation was led by the National Bureau of Standards, now NIST. Their findings were damning. The design change was the primary cause. But there were other factors. The original design itself had problems. The connection was marginal even without the change. The engineers hadn't properly calculated the loads, hadn't considered dynamic effects, hadn't built inadequate safety margins. The construction process was flawed. The fabricator made the change without proper engineering review. The engineers approved it without proper analysis. The building department inspected it without understanding the critical nature of the connection. The regulatory system failed. Missouri didn't require structural engineers to be licensed. Anyone could call themselves an engineer. Design buildings, sign off on calculations. No oversight, no accountability. The Hyatt Regency collapse changed everything. Engineering ethics were overhauled. The National Society of Professional Engineers strengthened its code. SEAL laws were enacted. Only licensed engineers could approve structural designs. Building codes were revised. Load calculations became more rigorous. Safety factors were increased. Peer review became standard practice for critical structures. Engineering education changed. Ethics courses became mandatory. Case studies of failures were taught. The Hyatt Regency became a cautionary tale, a reminder of the responsibility engineers bear. But the most important change was cultural. Engineers began to understand that they work for the public, not for clients, not for contractors. The public safety is paramount, overrides all other considerations. The Hyatt Regency collapse also had massive financial implications. Lawsuits totaled over $3 billion. In 1980s money, adjusted for inflation, that's over $10 billion today. The hotel chain, the engineers, the contractors, the fabricator, everyone was sued. Insurance companies paid out hundreds of millions. Then they changed their practices, required proof of engineering review, required licensed engineers, required peer review for complex structures. The engineering firm responsible went bankrupt. The principals lost their licenses. their careers, their reputations, the cost of a few $1,000s in savings. But the human cost was immeasurable. 114 people died. Young professionals, married couples, parents, children, lives cut short, families destroyed, dreams ended, all because of a design change that wasn't properly reviewed. Survivors suffered too. Physical injuries, psychological trauma. Many never entered multi-story buildings again, never attended crowded events, never felt safe in public spaces. The Hyatt Regency collapse is a case study in how small decisions can have catastrophic consequences. A design change that seemed minor, a review that was rushed, a system that failed to catch the error, and hundreds of people paid the price. So what should you take from this? First, engineering is serious. Buildings don't fail because of bad luck. They fail because of bad decisions, bad calculations, bad reviews. Good engineering requires rigor, attention to detail, respect for the responsibility involved. Second, safety margins exist for a reason. They're not suggestions. They're not waste. They're the difference between a close call and a catastrophe. Cutting corners to save money is false economy. Eventually, the bill comes due. Third, if you're in a profession that affects public safety, remember who you work for. Not your boss, not your client, the public. Their safety comes first. Always. No exceptions. The Hyatt Regency Walkway collapse happened over 40 years ago. But the lessons are still relevant, still being taught, still being ignored, still being relearned, the hard way. If this revealed something you didn't know, subscribe, because next week we're investigating another engineering failure, one that happened in plain sight. The money always tells the story. You just need to know where to look. This is Collapse Report, where we follow the money from boardroom decisions to bankruptcy filings.